What's good, people? It is Tony the Savant. And before we get started, please like the video, share the video, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I'm dropping content and going live on the channel. As well, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel as I drop content daily, go live daily, stay very busy on the platform. And last but not least, please leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments section, as I'm always intrigued to hear what you all got to say about these topics. And ladies and gentlemen, I been hearing about this situation, you know, been hearing people, do commentary on this situation, but I had to look into it myself. And this situation is a little bit more messier than I even thought it was, on initially hearing about it. As the UNLV quarterback Matthew Sluka has left UNLV. The football team. I think he still attends the school, but he leaves the football team over $100,000 NIL dispute amid growing tensions in the college football pay for play era. And ladies and gentlemen, when they first announced that all of this NIL stuff will be going on, this was one of my biggest concerns. That eventually, these kids, and I say kids not in the sense of them being, immature or adolescent or anything like that, but just as far as where they are in their athletic careers. When you're on the collegiate platform, yes, you're still, a kid per se, because you're still learning the ins and outs. You're still learning the business, this, that, and the third. Well, at least that used to be the case. Now these guys are sitting at negotiation tables and talking like professional basketball. I mean, not just basketball players, but talking like professional athletes. The NIL has, I guess you could say, it's been a gift and a curse in a lot of ways. Of course, these guys deserve to be compensated for years and years and years. We've seen these college programs build absolute empires off of these college athletes. So yes, it's only right that they get a piece of the proverbial pie. But what comes that is some negatives. It's a two-sided coin when it comes to this kind of situation, because yes, these guys are getting compensated for their skills and talents. But you run into a situation like this where it's just getting messier and messier and uglier by the day. But anyway, for me personally, y'all, I'm gonna read from this article that I seen on Yahoo Sports, because I've heard uh, Around the Horn, those guys talk about it on ESPN. I heard some guys talking about it on Fox Sports One, and then I heard uh, what's the guy name? Mike Wilbon and the other guy, I can't remember. His name's Tony. I respectfully, but I don't. Mike Wilbon is like a journalist that came around in the era right before I started watching. I started watching with Stephen A. and Skip Bayless. Mike Wilbon came up, and his come up in the generation of journalists right before Skip and Stephen A. Kind of hit the map, but nonetheless, I heard them discussing it as well, so I had to look into it myself, and I'm just trying to wrap my head around what's going on here, because it is very confusing indeed. So we're gonna read this article, and I've read it once. I've actually read this article twice, and it's still, just a lot of twists and turns in this story. But just to give you a little synopsis, apparently this kid Matthew Sluka had an NIL deal set up of some sorts. He was promised $100,000 by an assistant coach of the UNLV program. He was attending Holy Cross, another college. And so they recruited him to come over to the UNLV program. And he was, again, promised $100,000 by an assistant coach, allegedly, that was not, as far as the payment goes, he did not, he only received 3,000, I believe. $3,000 of the payment last week. And so now the young man is like, hey, until I get my money that I was promised, I'm no longer playing football. He has elected to to make this year his red shirt year. And how that goes is you get 4 or 5 years of eligibility. I know things got a little twisted with the COVID pandemic, but whatever the case, in your years of eligibility, you can redshirt 1 year and still be eligible to play the next season. So this is where we at with the situation. And it's like, again, it's just a lot of twists and turns in this thing. So I'm gonna read this article, and we're gonna try to gain an understanding together. But during a phone conversation in December, an assistant coach at UNLV made a pitch to quarterback Matthew Sluka: "Come play here, and we'll pay you $100,000." That's what's being said by Matthew Sluka's agent, Marcus Cromartie. 9 months later, with the Rebels undefeated, ranked in the top 25, and for now, the group of five's favorite to claim a college football spot, Sluka is no longer part of the team after he was not paid the promised amount. I should also mention that you can play up to 4 games. You can play up to 4 games and still elect to make that season or that year a red shirt year. So Sluka has led the UNLV Rebels to, I believe they're the running Rebels, to 3 wins. Not only that, he leads the team in passing yards as well as rushing yards. So it's not. It goes without saying, this guy is a very big contributor to the success of this program. Him sitting out is detrimental. So just wanted to caveat. I forgot about that part. So he'll no longer be paying until he receives his promised amount. The decision sent shockwaves through college athletics at a sensitive time in the industry and on a timely week. The sports leaders, the Division I conference commissioners, and NCAA President Charlie Baker are gathering Wednesday and Thursday for the annual meeting at Big Ten headquarters in the suburbs of my home city, Chicago. The gathering unfolds on the eve of an important deadline. On Thursday, the NCAA power conferences and attorneys must file a brief in the House antitrust settlement, a multi-billion-dollar agreement that would usher into the sport direct revenue sharing with the athletes, and perhaps more notably, given this situation, provide transparency and more binding agreements directly with the school. So, like I say, this is just this is just like a piece of the pie right here. So apparently, all of the big wigs are meeting in Chicago um, to discuss a multi-billion-dollar contract that would I would imagine even more so compensate these guys. I guess via the school, the colleges, they'll be receiving payments as well as their NIL deals with companies like State Farm and all these businesses. I don't know. That's why I say it's a little confusing in that sense for me. But that's why we're reading this article, because I want you all, if you all hear something, tell me about it in the comment section. I may be reading something and just overlooking it and missing it. But to continue, both sides involved in a UNLV situation, Sluka's agent and UNLV have spoken. Emerging is a truth not uncommon in this unwieldy and complicated world of college sports, where schools are relying on third parties and boosters to fund football rosters. Not everyone is on the same proverbial page. It starts off with full transparency, said Cromartie, an agent of Equity Sports representing Sluka, who must also allow these negotiations and these written agreements. Sorry about that. We must also allow these negotiations and these written agreements to happen and not put so many regulations on them. The school and coaches are negotiating, but you are allowing someone else, collectives, to pay for it, hoping they get the money from boosters. It's very messy. And I can't agree more with, I believe the gentleman's name is Marcus Cromartie, the agent of Matthew Sluka. I couldn't agree more, man, because this is where all the confusion is settling in for me. this is a messy situation because apparently the assistant coach promised this quarterback some money. The money was supposed to be provided by the boosters. These guys with a bunch of money that like to hang around the colleges, we all, if you've been watching college sports for any amount of time, you've probably heard the term boosters, but it's literally just some very rich guys that like to give money to the colleges and to these deans and principals so that they can have some I guess VIP treatment at these colleges. It's a very messy situation. That's the only word for it. So I'm thinking how was all working is that this uh, assistant coach was going to be dependent on the boosters. Whatever happened between the boosters and this coach, that deal fell through, and then the coach just kind of, I guess, bowed out. I don't think they even named this alleged assistant coach in this article, nor have I heard anybody else talk about. Everybody, when they talk about the alleged coach, they never uh, mention his name, which is weird to me. It's like this is the number one guy that's made this whole situation a misunderstanding, and nobody's bringing him to the forefront. All right, whatever. While Sluka was promised $100,000, he was promised a $100,000 NIL deal from coaches. According to Cromartie, the collective made no such agreement, said Rob Sine, CEO of Blueprint Sports, which operates UNLV's collective, which I'm believing this is like the head of the NIL money. This guy makes sure the NIL deals are agreed upon. And what he's saying is that he got no word that there was an $100,000 deal on the table for Matthew Sluka. Very messy indeed. It continues. The collective made a one-time payment of $3,000 to Sluka. As recently as last weekend, collective officials were discussing a monthly payment of $3,000 before the quarterback's decision this week to use his red shirt and leave the team. Players can compete up to 4 games in the season and still use a red shirt. So we mentioned that. And that's what I said last weekend. Apparently, allegedly, he received a payment of $3,000, and once he realized that the $100,000 that they agreed upon was up in the air. Well, allegedly, let me say that allegedly, because only he and his agent are saying this. The university and the guy that's over the NIL deals is saying he heard of no such deal. But I guess to keep Sluka quiet, they thought that they could give him $3,000 and just kind of wing it from there. That was not the case, as Sluka has elected to leave the team. The collective, it continues. The collective may not have agreed to $100,000, but coaches did. Cromartie told Yahoo Sports. The school, meanwhile, released a statement contending that Sluka's agent made financial demands that it interpreted as a violation of the NCAA rule prohibiting pay for play. Um, I'm going to finish out the article because we're going to come right back to that. But I believe this is why all of the big wigs are meeting in Chicago, so that, if the school is to promise these kids money, or if the school directly was to compensate these kids, it won't be such a pay for play type situation, which is against the policy of the NCAA, again, as we just read. Um, so it would be more so like, the Dallas Cowboys paying Dak Prescott. It'll be the organization compensating these athletes instead of a State Farm deal or a deal with Subway or something like that. That's how NILs work. These kids get endorsements from companies. They don't get compensated from the actual college university itself. I just believe that the universities have people on staff that monitor these payments, and probably even get a commission themselves. So, and they call them the collectives. But let's finish out this article really quick, because if you're confused, welcome to my world. It's just a lot of twists and turns in this thing, and it's just like, so who's wrong? Who's wrong, who's right in this situation? But the article continues. UNLV does not engage in such activity, or nor does it respond to implied threats The school said UNLV has honored all previously agreed upon scholarships for Matthew Sluka. The issues date back to Sluka's recruitment. In December, an assistant coach made the pledge to Sluka. Cromartie said Sluka's recruiter was UNLV offensive coordinator Brennan Marion. The quarterback arrived on campus this summer and began competing in preseason camp before Cromartie began to press coaches for the $100,000. Okay, maybe I overread that. Now that I'm rereading it now for the third time, Sluka's recruiter was UNLV offensive coordinator Brennan Marion. So this is, I'm guessing, the assistant coach that promised Sluka the $100,000. As we just read, the quarterback arrived on the campus to compete for the starting position, and that's when his agent began to ask these coaches for the $100K. He then turned the $100K agreement. Let's say that sounded kind of crazy. He then turned to the collective, introducing himself to sign in an email in late August. Since declined to negotiate with Cromartie, as he is not a licensed. Okay, I'm sorry. Sign, who is the guy that's overseeing the UNLV collectives. Remember, he's the guy that's over the NILs at the UNLV University. Declined to negotiate with Cromartie as he is not a licensed attorney in the state of Nevada, and told him to instead speak directly to the school and coaching staff. And see, this is where it all gets messy because these quote unquote NIL deals have nothing to do with the school. So with a coach promising $100,000, I guess Sluka and his agent thought that this money would be coming from some kind of NIL, deal that they had lined up with a company or something like that. As there's many companies in the mix that these collegiate athletes can get in and talk with. This is where it's all messy, guys. This is why I say this is crazy. Let's say with the coaching staff with a year eligibility left. And not having used his red shirt, Sluka decided that without payment, he would not play. If Matt did not have another year of eligibility, he would have stayed with his teammates, Marcus Cromartie said. All of this transpires with the Rebels in the midst of their best start in years. They are 3-0, having an undefeated power conference teams. Having defeated. They are 3-0, having defeated power conference teams Kansas and Houston. Host Fresno State this Saturday, and then they meet with Syracuse in another power conference game on October 4th. They are ranked for the first time since the program moved to the Division I in 1978. It goes on to this article is very long, and I'm so sorry, y'all. I did not realize how long this article was, but you get a gist of it. It goes, to get quotes from the coaches and all that kind of stuff. If you all want to read it yourself, it is on yahoosports.com, and it's just a very extensive article. But nonetheless, as you can see, man, this is exactly what I was afraid of. This is exactly what I was discussing a couple years ago when these NIL deals came up and was going to be an official thing. I knew off the top of my head, just like sports betting, we're catching these professional athletes with their hand in the cookie jar, placing bets on themselves. I mean, why not? I mean, if all these Joe Schmoes are making an extra $3, $4, $50, up to $60,000 off of you, and you're one of the bottom of the barrel athletes, you're not receiving the mega money that the top guys make. Yeah, you're going to be very tempted to get in the mix as well. And it's the same thing with this NIL thing. It's just going to make the actual sport, the actual product, that much more, I don't know, more professional. Like, I mean, we're seeing a situation right now with the New York Jets, their star pass rusher that they got in a trade with the Philadelphia Eagles, Hassan Reddick. He is in the midst of a contract negotiation himself, in this very same type situation, and he is refusing to play for the team and show up to these games. Just messy all around. Again, man, I just really hope this situation works out. There's no real wrong or right parties in this thing, but it's just one of these uh, confusing situations that has been birthed because these kids, are being compensated, and being compensated very nicely. As I read that quarterbacks are getting $1 million deals from one company, a piece. Like so, ain't no telling how much they getting off the top. But anyway, this video's already been long enough. That's all I really got for y'all. Again, let's talk about it a little bit more in the comment section if you so decide to go check this article out. It's just a very crazy situation that caught my eye. But nonetheless, please like this video, share this video, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I'm dropping content and going live on the channel. If you have not already, please subscribe to the channel. As I drop content daily, go live daily, stay busy on the platform. Last but not least, please leave y'all thoughts and opinions in the comment section, as I'm always intrigued to know what y'all got to say about these topics. I am Tony the Savant. Thanks for the love and the support, y'all. Peace.